This is the beginning of a new series where we share some unique insights behind some of the top personal brands on social media. Today we have Chris Williamson, the host of Modern Wisdom podcast. Chris is not only the best creator and podcaster, but also someone who really understands the whole dynamics of personal branding. Welcome to the Daily Creator Show. You're hearing Faras Musthafa. Let's get into it. Number 1, emotional talk. Unlike most podcasters who try to get into the details of how someone achieved XYZ, the technical side of things, Chris asked questions about how they feel about their achievements. What was their thought process behind their challenges? How were they dealing with their emotions? A lot of entrepreneurs and creators admit that success is 80% mindset and 20% action. But almost all of the creators only talk about the action side. Nobody talks about the mindset. Chris understands this and he fills this gap with his podcast. He tried to dig deeper into the mindset behind all these successful people rather asking them about how they got there in the first place. I remember watching both Alex Hormozi podcast with Chris Williamson and Stephen Bartlett. Both of them were interesting, but if you ask me who would retain their audience for long amount of time, of course it is Chris Williamson. It was all emotional talk and it is so fascinating to see the mindset behind a $100 million CEO. You can't really find that all the time in his content, but it is exclusively found in the Chris Williamson podcast. The takeaway for you is emotions relate with people. Making your content actionable is really important, but emotions are much more powerful because everyone goes through some level of emotional drama, and integrating emotions to your content will help you retain your audience for long amount of time. Number 2, articulation. Not only Chris is good at asking questions about the emotional well-being of his guest, but also he brings himself up in the conversations by sharing his unique ideas and thoughts in well-articulated manner. Because he's good at articulation, number 1, this encourages his guest to share more from their mindset or emotions. 2, this builds his personal brand as people are seeing him as a thought leader who is equally important as his guest, rather just an interviewer who is asking questions. I remember the session Chris Williamson had with Joe Rogan when Chris shared about the lonely chapter in a really well articulated manner. Rogan was so excited and it made him share more from what he thinks about it. The reason why this works so well is because this produces a lot of serotonin, which makes people feel good after hearing, making them retain for a long period of time. So implement that on your content. Number 3, flow. Unlike most podcasters who don't know how to end or who just fluff around on the same thing, not having enough words or having an awkward pause, Chris knows how to end accurately because he's always monitoring the flow of the conversation in his head. If you have observed how Chris Williamson speaks, he's constantly monitoring his own voice and the entire flow of the conversation. When he feels it's not flowing in the right direction, he takes the charge and brings it back to something else that is much more interesting. The takeaway for you here is when you feel out of context, instead of trying to come up with something more or wrapping up, just end. There is so much wisdom in that. Alright, that's all for this video. I will see you on the next one. Hopefully, it's Stephen Bartlett.